Okay, we're starting now. Ready for me? Yes. Silverbirds, Rhythm 93.7. This is Viewpoint. Viewpoint is a news and current affairs program comes to you every Saturday between the hours of 8:15 and 10. Today we have two segments, not three. So we'll try our best to exhaust it. My name is Zubi Ekuku, and my guest is already seated. We are live on Facebook, just in case you're joining us for the first time. You're a regular here at Rhythm 937PH, at Rhythm 937PH on Facebook. Okay, and let me just start to give you a little introduction. On the 27th day of May, which is a few days from now, approximately 4 days from now, River State will celebrate its 59th anniversary. And for more than 10 years, toxic politics took a hold of the state. And is there any hope to witness the best chapter of this state's story? We ask ourselves. My guest, I have joining me in the studio, Ebenezar Wikina. He is the founder of and Policy Shapers, and is currently leading the Rivers 50 or 2050 vision, the first citizen-led development vision in Nigeria's history. Mr. Wikina is a senior advisor at the Nguvu Collective, where he has trained civic leaders from more than 40 countries. He is also a thematic lead at the NESG Advisory Board member at the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund and a fellow of the School of International Futures based in London, England. Glad to have you join us, Ebenezer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Zubi. Really, really happy to be here. It's been a while since from our SPC days.
Yes, it has. And you have morphed into something awesome. As obviously predicted, many of you from the SPC early days have grown to become awesome people. I'm happy you went and came back. People didn't come back.
It's a beautiful home.
Yes. Yes, but our home, as you mentioned, is a beautiful home, but our home is not as beautiful as we did expect it to be. We do expect it to be. So we're here, just in case you're joining us, we'll be opening the phone lines later on. But for now, you can join us online and listen to us, and then send your questions to our Facebook page. Now, River State is marking its 59th anniversary on May 27th. As someone who is deeply invested in this state's future, what does this anniversary mean to you personally?
No, this anniversary means a lot. I mean, we're speaking about this, a couple of friends and I, and we're like, even an individual that is 59, so has seen, quote, the best parts of their life, right? I mean, 65 is the retirement age, so it means that there's 6 more years before River State, if he was an individual, would retire. And so I think that we're at the phase of our life where, just as you said, so much that we should be seeing, we haven't been seeing all of those kind of things, right?
Yes.
The state can be much more better at 59. And if you look back at how we started, if you go as far back as 1975, our first military governor, Commander Alfred Jetespe, who is His Majesty now, at the time, our first military governor was in his 20s.
Yes, he was.
And
the president, I guess, was between 29
most of them in the
31.
Supreme Military Council were in their 20s, early 30s, late 20s. And besides his age, actually, that was the last time that River State actually had a long-term development vision or plan. It was called the River State Development Vision. People go to the State Library at Bernard Carr, you'll be able to see it. And things like the Point Block, right? Not so far from us. Things like Borough Park, all of the things that sort of like become the symbols of our state were envisioned at that time, right? 50 years ago. But 50 years on, it did seem like we stopped dreaming and imagining as a state. We sort of just got comfortable being where we were. And you know what they say about being comfortable? Once you get comfortable with something, you wouldn't feel a push to want to grow, right? So we remain in that state. We're still using the same buildings that were built in the 1970s, which, by the way, are due for renovation now, obviously, right? And we really haven't come together to say, how can our states envision and plan for the future? What do we want to be for the next 10, 15, 20 years? And, my and I've seen that if you're looking at people like Qatar, or you're looking at people like Singapore, anywhere you look at, basically, right? Their story has always shown that there's a trajectory from. I mean, Singapore was a wasteland. They're basically like, think of Bundu, right? Back at when they got independence. But now they're one of the top 20 countries in the world.
Theirs was even dire.
Because and a long-term plan pushed the country to be able to see beyond where they were. I think River State needs a vision. The state to come up with a vision. I've worked at several organizations. One of them is Paint Foundation, where we have supported Abia State. So even the plan that Governor Oti launched last year, Paint Foundation supported them. We supported Cross River State, even during the Duke's time and stuff like that. And so, like, we've seen that if you don't have a plan, just like an individual, if you come out and they give you a salary and you don't plan it, before the first week is done, the salary is done, right? Because it means that you spend the money on anything without really having a plan for the rest of the month. So I think you can liken River State to that same context of where we've had over $4 billion come into the state over the past, say, 20 plus years. And we have, spent it good in some aspects and spent it bad in some aspects, right? And we've also had situations where we've also not had continuity, where if someone starts a very good idea, starts something, they don't finish in the administration, and once they leave, the next person comes on and does their own thing. And so sometimes ignores what's, I mean, you can see all around us. We call this office now, just look around you. There's so many good ideas that started and have not really moved forward. So yeah, so in essence, I think 59 is a time for us to pause and think and reminisce. And so as of February last year, a couple of friends and I thought, let's do something. Since the government doesn't want to do a long-term vision, maybe it's time for citizens and young people, for us who would live longer in River State. It's time for us to actually say, let's take a stand, let's start something. Some of us already have technical experience working on long-term plans in other states and other countries. So let's start something and let's see if we can build a vision for River State. So that's how the Rivers 2050 vision
came about. Okay. Thank you very much. For just joining us, this is Viewpoint. My guest is Ebenezar Wikina. He is one of the proponents of the 2050 vision for River State. We need to have it according to 59 years down the line. What can we hold on to? What we're actually holding on to now was what structures that were built many years ago by those who saw the vision. And they were able to move in that direction. But let me ask you this. Permit me to go back. We mentioned Singapore here. And Lee himself who is the grandfather of that particular country. From basically the ashes, he was able to grow. But if you check very well, and we're looking at leaders now, leadership. He wasn't beloved by the West. He was tagged a dictator. He was called many names, but he had his philosophy and his vision, and basically democracy. Don't you think democracy is a limiting factor when it comes to this vision? Citing Singapore, you know what I'm saying?
No, I fully understand you. And people give the same example when you talk about like Qatar, right? Because that's a
UAE.
Monarchy. The UAE, that's a monarchy. People even talk about Rwanda too, because Rwanda has seen quite a bit of growth over the past 2, 3, 4 decades. And also they have someone that's been there for a long time, right? So people will feel like the solution to it is by being there for the long time. But there are many countries like Zimbabwe, where you had Mugabe stay there for how long? There are many countries like Cameroon where you had the president stay there for how long, and there's really not been changed. The determining factor, I think, is much more than how long you stay. I think it's more about what vision you have, right? Because those guys could have stayed in those countries for 40, 50 years and not done anything really. And we've also seen countries where you've had change every 4, 5, 6 years, and you've seen them grow over a long time. If you go back, let's even look at the US, for example, right? Let's look at the US. The people who wrote Thomas Jefferson and co who wrote the Declaration of Independence, and like the statues that built the US, they're also in their 20s. They were young people. And look at what now, 250 years on, you can see how the country had grown progressively. I mean, they've had times when they've gone back and come forward, and that's progress. It's because they have a vision they want to have a country that is free, The freedom is quite central to their forming values, and so they want to keep growing and keep growing as a country, and so they challenge the politics, the business, everything so like fits into that mode. But I think, yeah, I mean, back home, the challenge is that what are we really fighting for? If you ask, I mean, there's so much ruckus in the political space now. if you ask people in the political space,
yes,
what are we really like? What are we fighting for? Like all the passion and all the they come on radio and people are shouting and screaming. What really are we fighting for? What is it about? Really, the state? Is it about fixing the state? Or is it about people's individual, preferences and the things people need as individuals? What really are we fighting for? So I hear you, and this is something that I've discussed and argued a couple of times. I don't think it doesn't depend on how long you stay. You can stay for the next 50 years, and if you don't really have a vision for changing the country or the state or the region, nothing will change.
So so are we saying, or are you saying it has to do with the quality of leaders?
Quality of leadership, yes.
That is what matters.
Yes.
Versus it's not have nothing to do with
versus how long you stay. Yes.
Okay, so we can cite Abia State.
Yes.
It's less than 4 years.
Thank you.
But he has already stretched.
Thank you so much for that example.
He has stretched.
People who go to Aba, for example.
Yes.
I mean, I had a friend who came in from Abuja who hadn't come down to Port Harcourt for a while. So he goes to Aba and then comes back to Port Harcourt. And this was the time when we had refuse everywhere. I mean, we still have refuse in some places everywhere. And he's like, did River State move this way and did Aba move, move this way? He was so confused because he's not been here for like 10, 15 years, and so that just shows you in a very short time, this was 3 years, right? In a short time, with vision and with deliberate action, you can actually move things really fast, right? And I think that's what has been lacking. I'm not so big on, the party that is winning, all of the things that people seem to argue here, which is more about like who's individual, who's in control, who's the party. If you don't have vision, you can put anybody there and we'll keep going around the circles, right?
Okay. Yeah. But how do we make this vision for River State?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you how they did, but we were not there then.
Yes, we're not there.
We're here now.
Yes.
Now maybe we need to ask them.
Yes, sure.
How do we make this our vision and not one person or a select elite vision? How do we do that?
That's a beautiful question. I think that has been the biggest challenge with long-term planning and vision in Nigeria and most of the African continent. So most times when these visions are launched, especially in democracies, right, it ends up becoming the vision of an individual, because politically it signals that a certain person is launching this vision. So if they are not in office, the next guy that comes on feels he needs his own vision and agenda to be able to run things. And I think that's why the Rivers 2050 Vision Project is unique, because none of us are politically inclined, right? So I don't belong to any political party. And for the 100, and so when we began the project, we first convened over 150 young people from across 20 local government areas and said, like, you guys, this is our state, right? Some of them are in diaspora, some are now working abroad and stuff. Like, this is our state. We could whine and complain about this for the next 10 years and nothing changes. How do we actually fix this? And so we came together and said, okay, if it's going to be a people-led vision, not a policy, I mean, and that's the reason why we haven't brought any political leaders to come behind us, because folks have been asking us, who is sponsoring you? Who is your godfather? Who is bankrolling you and stuff like that? We haven't brought anyone because we want it to be a people-led vision. And we don't want it to be a vision that when the next person comes in, they feel like it belongs to another person, right? So we've spent a long time, first of all, going into the community. So we've surveyed now 4,120 something Rivers people across the 20 local government areas. The goal is to hit 5,000. And with this survey, we're getting the thoughts and insights of Rivers people about, first of all, what their current needs are. Because I feel like in the political space, people just come and assume that their needs, you need a school, you need a hospital, you need just build things without really knowing what the needs of people are. So we've done needs assessments, found out what their needs are. We're also asking them for their future aspirations, like what do you want to be? How do you want your... Did
anybody say I want to be a senior man?
No, we've not. Because that seems to be a popular...
I'm just asking.
So, I mean, what are aspirations for your life? What's your current household income? Where do you want it to get to? What's the current educational level and stuff like that? And the survey findings are very startling. For River State, we have people, I mean, the average household income is between 25,000 to 50,000. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous for River State. That's scary.
25,000 to 50,000.
25,000 to 50,000. That's the household income average out of 4,000 people that we've spoken to. So that just shows you that there's a huge poverty problem. That we're living in this bubble and we're feeling like, oh, we're a rich state, so there's so much oil here and everything. but the people themselves are very impoverished, right? So that's a sign. You can't really have growth and infrastructural growth without really taking care of poverty. Look at the UAE and Qatar and Singapore, even that we spoke about earlier. They first invested in the people. Because if you invest in the people, they won't go destroy the infrastructure. But I think for us, most times we build infrastructure first and hope that everything goes well. But if you have people who cannot feed for 2 days, non-stop, they will remove the pavements, got the iron to go sell, right? So I think it's just even the way we think about this.
Sorry to take you back, Ebenezer.
Yes, please.
You mentioned now, and we've cited this frequently, the UAE, Qatar, and Singapore.
Yeah.
And let us also remember that the UAE the Qatar was pounded by Iraq during the war in the 90s. But look at where they are today.
Yes.
Okay. So they invested in people first. I want you to go deeper with regards to that.
Yes, please.
Investing into human beings
human capital development,
before infrastructure, please.
Yes, and I think so. The 4 overarching themes that have come out as the needs, when we say that are the top needs that the state needs, are education, employment, especially youth unemployment is a big issue, energy as per power, and economic diversification. Those are the 4 top E's that came up. Security was there obviously, but that seems to be security is how you create an enabling environment for growth. So security is obviously there. And we know the country in general now is unsafe, right? But these 4 E's seem to be the overarching needs. And I think education, if you start with education, any leader of River State needs to have a clear-cut, conscious plan for educational development. There was a time in this country where River State had some of the best schools in this country. In fact, we used to have folks from UNICEF, back when we were World Book Capital, we used to have folks from UNICEF and who come down to say, wow, this is a school in a local government, right? And think about the smart boards and everything. All those things will be gone. they are destroyed. Some of the schools, you have trees growing in the middle of them. There's some of the schools where if you go down to the riverine areas, kids don't go to school. They're like, they have to go pick periwinkle. We have one of our partners called Read Cycle, who did the analysis of 10 local government areas and the educational conditions there. I can't even explain how bad they are. Wow. Some don't have teachers. Some just keep moving from class to class without exams. They just say, okay, this year is over. Let's now move everyone to or move everyone to the next class, and everyone just moves. No exam, no testing, nothing. Yes.
And these schools once had smart boards.
They were one of the best that we have in this country.
From your research, what happened?
Negligence on the part of government. The fact that we don't have standards for education. We felt things there to get bad and we just let it get bad and worse and worse and worse. And I feel we haven't really seen the River State budget publicly for the past 8 to 12 years, right? So what has the River State government been investing in education? The UNESCO says that what they recommend is a developing country or region or state should invest at least 15% of their annual budget on education.
Yes.
We don't even know what we've invested in education. What amount goes to the Ministry of Education and how does it get down to the schools and for teacher training and the University of Education? How does it get dispersed? No clue.
This is disturbing, Ebenezer, to know and to hear that we're at this point before and now we are here. And we're still plodding along like it is okay, like everything is okay.
That's part of what got me alarmed. I was like, this is the disaster waiting to happen because all those kids were not educated now. What do you think will happen to them? Let's give them another five years till when they are bold enough to start holding things, weapons and stuff. What do you think will happen to them? So when we talk about insecurity being a recurring theme, so when you want to bring people to River State, they say, oh, your state is safe. I'm like, it's very safe. What do you mean is it safe? Come on, come down. If you can work in Lagos, you can work in River State. In the next 5 years, it could get way worse because all the kids that are not educated would come into the streets. They need to eat. That's what I told you to be. When you say people are selling, why do you feel they don't sell street pole or light poles in Qatar or Singapore, right? It's because people to a large extent, I'm not saying they've eradicated poverty completely, but to a large extent, that's not what will give them money, right? There are other means for which the state can take care of people. Look at things like bursary even. For a long time, bursary became a story where it's just like, oh, if governor comes and say, I'll promise you bursary and stuff. That shouldn't be something River students should be begging for. This is their state.
But the question again is this: some people will say we're not rich enough; that things are a bit more difficult.
Yeah, let me give you a good example. We're not ultra rich, but we are rich enough to be able to invest in human capital development to the point where we can see clear results. Let me give you an example. Between 2009 and 2019, River State received in additional income $2.7 billion. additional income. So this is different from
Additional income.
this is something called the 13% derivation from.
Okay.
Different from what we receive from like our normal monthly
FAC.
allocation FAC, where we pay and stuff. So additionally, $2.7 billion. Let me give you an example of what that $2.7 billion could have done. The Aba geometric power plant cost about $800 million, right, to build. It runs on gas and it generates about 288 megawatts of electricity. Where is our own power plant? Lagos State launched something called the Blue Line. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the metro system, the train that goes across the city. Covers 13 kilometers, reduces transition costs by 50%, and it cost about $1.2 billion. By the way, we received $2.7 billion, right, in 11 years. If you go to even Kano in Kano State, Dangote Farms recently, I think 2 years ago, launched a tomato plant, and that
20 million.
$2.7 billion. So I mean, I had a friend who had asked me. I said, River State, you could have a fish processing factory. I couldn't even tell you that we import fish. Do you know we import fish in River State?
I'm aware. We import eggs in Ebenezar. So we have all this, and our cassava processing plant is not working.
Nothing's working. So this is just in 11 years. I'm not saying from 1999. And that's what other of growth within the states. I think what has been missing paramount is that we haven't been able to disassociate personal interests from state interests. For every, just look at Lagos, right? I know that Lagos is sort of like people look seem to be as a model, and we have political leaders in the state that want to be like the president and lead the state. Look at the way that Lagos has built itself consistently over the past decade plus, right? They might not have to agree on everything politically. Personal interest comes in and out, and there are disagreements here and there. But when it comes to the interest of Lagos State, they unite. Like they want to fight everybody.
As it should be.
They make sure that nothing tampers with the interest of Lagos. But I feel we've gotten to the point as a state where it doesn't matter if there's a state of emergency. As far as I'm not benefiting, you're not benefiting. Let the place be destroyed. Somebody else can come in and take all of our money. It does not. We've got to that point where we're so negligent of our state, where it does like we don't care.
But Ebenezer, permit me to chip in here.
Please chip in.
So basically,
$7
billion
just in additional income. Yes.
In additional income in 11 years.
Yes. And this is not VAT, by the way. This is not like any own percentage from VAT.
This is from
13% derivation. That's what the country sold in oil, and then shares to the countries that oil.
And the country did not withhold it from us.
No. Received it.
Do you have
data? Yes, there's data.
We received it.
Yes.
Do we still have it? Maybe did we spend it, or it's still
it's
there?
Gone, my brother. It's gone.
It's not even in the bank accruing for us or something.
River State does not have a publicly available savings, even just for savings. If you say how much does River State have now in savings, we don't know our citizens.
We don't have a sovereign wealth like what
we don't have a sovereign wealth from what Qatar and the rest of them have. I mean, Norway, for example, is a good example. Norway as well, very oil producing. They invested their oil so much in the past 24 years now that they own 1% of all the publicly traded companies in the world.
Some countries in this world, Ebenezer, don't have $2.7 billion.
No.
Some countries don't have it.
Received it in 11 years, 2009 to 2019. This is data we got from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and the Ministry of Finance. So, and we've written letters to ask,
what is going on? So, what is going on?
It's crazy.
$2.7 billion, and some teachers are not being paid.
Yes. They're not teachers in school.
Yes.
Kids cannot go to kids are picking ISAM. If you go to Riverine community, they're picking ISAM instead of going to classes.
I visited a community in Kana local government. I don't know if it is Ka, I can't remember. There was a tree in the middle of the school.
Yes.
And it's not like a tree, it's a tree.
So that shows you the amount of negligence.
And we had $2.7 billion.
How and how can we ensure that Rivers people have where to lay their heads in a unified manner? How can the state get involved with affordable housing projects and stuff? Bring investment to ensure that people can live in. I mean, rent has gone really crazy. So we got different experts. So again, it's on our website, rivers2050.org. You will find all these local discussions. We even have rivers2050.org. Yes. We even have a conversation today scheduled with the founding head of Singapore's long-term planning initiative.
Okay.
We've been bringing it, so we brought folks from Qatar last year to come speak to us as well. And so we're speaking to Singapore this year. Hopefully, before we close the project, we'll have folks from Norway as well speak to us to tell us what their secret is. Like, what really did you guys do? Because you have oil, we have oil.
Yeah.
We even have more. So, just to blow your mind, we have more land space than Singapore. Singapore is about 700 and something square kilometers. River State is 11,000 square kilometers. So think of the potential for agriculture. We should be feeding not just ourselves. We should be feeding the whole of this country with the kind of the arable land that we have in our states, right? So we're doing all of these things, and so it will come together in the Rivers 2050 Vision Book that will be launched in late October, early November 2026. We hope that it helps us to start a conversation about our electoral processes, our elections, and how we choose our leaders, right? And that's we're also taking one step further to also engage the political parties to say, we've been doing this for the past 1 year. Young people have come together with experts, and so we encourage you to have your candidates align with this vision, because this is now the vision for the state. And we hope that Rivers people themselves also will now, based on what we've discussed now, at least even if it's the 4,000 people that we've spoken to,
yes,
let that mental shift begin. Right?
I think,
and let us begin to think and ask differently.
I think the organization and those behind it need to have a sit down with the godfathers of River State. The political parties are basically appendages, I believe, appendages of these godfathers, and it is the
people at the top.
It is a prerogative. It's the prerogative of these godfathers that these political parties run with. They have a manifesto that maybe even their governorship aspirants have not read. I don't think they are abreast with the manifesto. I don't think they've read it. Yes, this is my manifesto. Okay, what's number one? Number one, you're not opening it. It means you don't know it.
It means you haven't really studied it before.
Yes, it's not yours. Because if it is yours, you will know.
I agree with you that they actually, there are state leaders that we actually need to engage. So by the time we began the project, I reached out to His Majesty Alfred Justice Spieth just to let him know about the project and everything.
Okay.
I mean, he knows about it, and we've been trying to engage him in various ways. So that's conversation that's still ongoing. We reached out as well to the former governor, His Excellency Dr. Peter as well, to inform him about the project and also let him know about it. We're reaching out to other state leaders too across the divide. Again, it's a non-partisan project. So we need, if this is even the chance for us to unite ourselves, right? We've asked the various former and current governors to also write sections of the vision to also like put their voice and their backing behind the vision. Hopefully they do. I mean, but if they don't, it's still again, the highest office in the country and in the states is the office of the citizen. So if we feel like we need them to move forward, then we're not really serious, right?
Okay. So I like that mindset.
So we've invited them, but if they don't come, as citizens, we've come together to say that this is what we want as a vision for the states. And if we actually do decide our elections and votes based on who we feel aligns most with our vision, who is speaking, who is really actually about the challenges that we have and the solutions that they will bring.
Yes.
If we do that, then I think we can change the policy with or without these folks.
Yeah, I like the position that you've taken as an organization, because whether they like it or not, they must bend to the development of River State. It is inevitable that they must at this point. So we're going to open the phone lines now. The phone numbers are 0902-333-9379. You also have 0901-374-3199. Remember, we are live on Facebook at Rhythm 937PH, and you can send your messages, your questions, just in case you have, so that we can chip in. 0902-333-9379. Hello, good morning. This is Viewpoint.
Good morning, Mr. Zubi Wokucha.
Glad to be joined us. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Surya Chief Ambassador Magnus Edo, the farmer of the Ewa village. I greet my brother in the studio. Let me greet him in the Gomini dialect. Where is our brother?
You're there, brother. You're there.
Yes, I'm so happy and excited by your two views.
Hello? We lost the connection. Our sincere apologies there. Okay, keep those calls coming in. 0901-374-3199. You also have 0902-333-9379. This is Viewpoint. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Zubi.
Glad to have you joined us, yes.
Good morning to your guest.
Morning.
My name is Donatus.
Go ahead, Donatus.
Yes. Zubi, when I was growing up, I used to see in my father's library, River State Development Plan, 1970 to 75, 1975 to 1980, and so on.
Yeah.
You see, this development plan we are jettisoning with the advent of this of what we call the so-called democracy, where every state governor comes and award contract arbitrarily. As a day, what I was made to understand was that you cannot award contract outside the state development plan. So the state has the state has a direction. Now, this one that the governors are coming, you award anything you want to award at any time at your disposal. These are the things, these are the sources of corruption. And I think we should go back to that era where there is a development plan and no state executive will go outside the plan to do something contrary. Zubi, go to CSS Lumene Banga. It is a forest now. Lumene Banga is the home of the former Uniform DC in Canada local government. Other schools in River State are just like that. We can continue like this. And that is why you see one man has put the state into his pocket. And we are looking for ways to educate ourselves now, which to me is difficult. We can't continue like this, Zubi.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. 0902-333-9379. You also have 0901-374-3199. Those are the numbers to call. You can also send us a WhatsApp message to 0902-333-9379. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Could you speak up, please?
Am I audible now?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
All right. I think it was Thomas Ankara that said that the worst can be made the best and in record time. And this sort of line that Ebenezar and his peers are having, they are in line with those sort of Thomas Ankara. And I deeply buy into it. But I just want to add that this plan as beautiful as it sounds, it cannot be actualized without political backing. So as much as they can, I don't know how they can do it, but they are political, but have to have a political backing to make this plan see the light. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So you will need political backing before this thing.
Hello, good morning, Zubi.
Good morning, glad to be joining us, yes.
My name is Mr. Adolphus Rena, and I'm calling you from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead, Adolphus.
Yeah, the man is like Chido. He has a very good picture. River State at 57.
59.
59.
Okay, at 59.
Yep.
Where are we? The legacy project established by the founding fathers all across, especially the one established by Chief Alfred Joseph Steve, the first governor of River State. From the Port Harcourt Zoo to the Port Harcourt flower mills, all right. We may have built roads, housing, schools, but poverty is everywhere. No productive ventures. Now in politics, the state has been so toxic. Godfatherism. One man is dominating the political space. Now the state tribe have been governed again and again. The highest community have nominated another liberation. Keep reaching there and he's warming up. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Adolphus, there. We don't want to go into politics. This is.
But all the lofty ideas
Yes.
will not come to fruition because they don't know the name. That's my name. I will not personal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adolphus Renner, for your contributions. Permit me to chip in where this is not indicting anyone politically. Politics is different from this is Rivers Vision 2050. And so one of the callers said that for you to achieve this, you need political backing. Do you concur?
I mean, that's what I mean. Politics, the way I see it, politics. So look at the state as a house. Politics is how you get into the house, and governance is what you do when you get into the house. I think we've been overshadowed by the politics of how you get in there. It's like, who has the power? How do you get in? Who votes you and everything? And then we get in there and are clueless. You know, governance has been dying in our states. You can see it in the neglect of the civil service and everything. Just the bureaucracy of how we the laws and the rule of law, what guides us, how we operate, you know, has been gone. So we understand that real estate is a really politically charged state. So that's why, like I said, when we began, we wrote to all sides of the political divide. We wrote to everyone. We said, like, hey guys, we're building this.
Okay.
Come join us. We would invite you at various points to come speak to us about your own administration and stuff like that. And a couple of them wrote back to us, a couple of them did not write back to us. Some of them did not take us seriously. You know, and so even as well for the, like I said, we're getting to the stage where we're finalizing the vision book. We've written again to say, hi, this is the vision book. We hope will be a guide for the next 25 years. Come give us your insights in it, right? And bring your voice into the vision. We'll wait for a couple of months. If nobody does, we'll still, you know, we'll still move forward, right? But like I said, the highest power sits with the citizens. I fully understand the power that politics plays in our day-to-day and in our lives as a state. But if citizens decide, I mean, how many people are in political parties? They're not up to 500,000, right? If citizens, the state has a 9 million population. If 8.5 million of us, let's say there are 500,000 people in political parties joining these guys. If 8.5 million of us say no to something, who would have the highest power? Is it the people who are 8.5 million or those who are 500,000, right? So I think that's just about the psyche that we give ourselves. The fact that we sound quite defeatist. We found that a lot when we engage people. They're like, oh, nothing will change, or leave these people's in. Nothing's gonna happen.
That's the mindset.
Let it go, nothing will happen. And so we have to persuade people just to even get their thoughts and feedback as part of the survey that we did across the states. So I think beyond just looking at politics as the last say, we're seeing citizens' power as the last say. If citizens are actually ready and say we can make a change, I think we can. Because people need to actually stand up and say, it is my state, it is our state. How can we change the state? So when it comes to choosing the leaders, when it comes to even our own actions, how we are in buses and we throw bottles out of the bus. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else in the developed world, right? So if you want our state to look better, it means you shouldn't be throwing wrappers and things out of the window on the bus, right? You shouldn't be urinating just anywhere on the road, when you see things like that. But again, it begins with a mindset, orientation, and I think that's what we've begun. We need as much help as possible. We've engaged many society organizations to also join us. We've been going to schools. I mean, we spoke to SUG across River State University, University of Port Harcourt, National Surgery University. We brought all of them together in Uniport and spoke to them and said, like, see, we know that they will come to you very soon to say, come and help us carry ballot box and all of these things. You can either choose to do that and get, I don't know, whether to give you a few coins, or you can actually choose to invest in the future of our state. And we shared the vision with them. Quite a number of them have also joined us in the task force. Okay. As well. Let's see how that goes.
Ebenezar, if you're just joining us, we're live on Facebook at Rhythm 937PH, and we're looking at River State 2050 vision. This is 2026. Wow. Well, 24 years to 2050. But let me ask you this, Ebenezar. I went to see someone somewhere in GRA, and usually it was a Friday night. And we passed by the very popular Tombia Road that is usually jam-packed.
With a lot of
There was nothing happening. It was bare. And then I asked the gentleman that was with me, I said, what's going on? He said they've been complaining quietly and silently that there are nobody is doing the business again. He's a cab rider. He's a graduate. I don't know how many degrees he has, but that is what he's doing to survive. That's one. It shouldn't be. Not that I'm bringing down the business, but something is wrong. He said throughout that yesterday, he's only gotten 3 rides. Wow. And for many days now.
And that's a Friday night where
Friday night is usually but there's no business. Wow. And then I passed by a popular cinema theater spot. Nobody standing outside. No activity. Wow. The guy was just burning his diesel. But there wasn't power, of course. And I thought to myself, I said, this guy has to pay tax. Very soon they'll come and say, oh, guy, you have to pay tax. Yes. He has to pay salaries. Exactly. But there's nobody here to buy tickets. And if you ask me, how much is a ticket to watch a movie now? Even if you do, before you think of buying that ticket, have you eaten?
So think of the mass of people that will, that will be dropped off before they get into the movie theater. Yeah.
So the man is now telling me that there is no business. People are basically scraping to survive.
Yes.
And it takes me to this question, Ebenezar. You talked about 20,000 naira to 50,000 naira.
That's our average household income. Yes.
What should be the ideal average based on the $2.7 billion we've had, based on your estimation, and we've traveled? What for anybody to take care of a family, husband, wife, and 2 children? What should be the average per month, please?
It does feel like that average even continues to move higher every day.
But as of today, please.
As at today, for me, I feel our minimum wage multiplied by maybe 3 or 4 should be what should be the average. Honest, for someone to think. I mean, and again, that's a very modest estimation.
70,000 times 3.
That's at least 250.
250.
For me, what I expect to see if you do a survey of river states and oil producing states, brilliant people who should be farther than we're supposed to be, should be at least somewhere from 300,000 above as a monthly average. Because again, if I want to bring another
for the ordinary regular
for the regular person, I'm saying regular everyday person, and if you want to even bring another angle to this, Qatar, UAE, Singapore, and co, do you know these guys pay their citizens? So let's use the UAE. So do you know that when you get married in the UAE, the government gives you land and gives you money to build on that land. This was happening in Libya, even in Africa. So let me not even go too far. Do you know it was happening in Libya?
Under Gaddafi, right?
Under Gaddafi's regime, right? So, like, even what does the government invest?
So basically, they're helping you pre-start life.
Ensure that you stay. Yes.
So you won't be thinking of
all the things that we think about as young people, because you know that all of those things have been taken care of, right? I feel to a large extent there's a conscious effort to keep people in poverty so that they can be used. But
this poverty is extremely extreme.
It is very extreme. And over the past few years, it's gotten way worse.
It's extremely extreme.
It's way terrible. And I think that, again, that comes from the way the economy has been handled, is mismanaged. Many good reforms were paced at the wrong time and were allowed. Things have just spiraled out of, fuel subsidy plus, not floating this thing, and everything just went crazy all of a sudden, right? So I think the president could have gotten better economic advice, could have done better when it comes to handling the economy. But just as for me, so when I think of this conversation, I always like to isolate us from this context. I think river states can be such, if we invest our resources well in our people, and as a people, we can be such a leader when it comes to human capital development. That's Nigeria's factors in a way will not sway us as much as it's swaying us now.
But let me chip in here. Let me go to governance. The past 8 years before Sim became governor, the government then focused more on roads and bridges. I was against it in certain formats because I believed agriculture would have been number one. I listened to the agricultural minister of Ethiopia, and he said
that's another country that's really doing well. Yeah,
he said they had to focus on agriculture because if they can feed themselves, they can now start to do other things. And I was like, whoa! Look at Malaysia giving us. We're importing palm, but we gave them the seed,
the seedlings for cultivating their palm.
So now, I expected that when the current government takes charge, that they were going to focus on human capital. That's anything that will make human beings, bubble. When they are human beings, we can do this. The first contract that was awarded by this administration was the Port Harcourt Ring Road. I was blown to bits. I was like, no, now we can't continue because
it's good to go around in circles.
Because I was saying no, and it was approved by the State House of Assembly. And I was like, please, we have to ensure human beings are first. How many jobs have we created? Not civil service jobs.
Yes. And that's a good point. When people talk about jobs, they imagine how many teachers did you employ? How many civil servants?
Not that one. That's more burden on you as a state.
Exactly.
We're looking at
private sector jobs.
Yesterday I mentioned it. I said I was expecting that by now we'll have a youth conference with people from Microsoft, people from X, Elon Musk coming here to come and say, okay, we want to cite something in Eleme, and this is AI driven or tech driven, and we'll employ this. This is how much we'll pay you, because, and they were saying business is not government's business. I said, or doing business is not for government. I say it's not true.
Government has to create the environment for business.
How come before you travel to Canada, you are moving to Canada, you know your job you're doing? It's on the government website.
Yes, government knows about it.
And the government will tell you this is how much you will earn in a month. And this is what will provide for you. So if government, if the Canadian government can know how much you'll be earning, why can't the Nigerian government know that? Why are we now running away from it? Always irks me.
It's sad. It's really sad to be. I mean, again, one of the legacies of the development plans that our callers spoke about is the Transformative Industrial Layout.
Okay.
That's actually one of the pioneer industrial layouts in Nigeria's history, where we said, let's have a portion of this city that's focused on companies, industrial growth, so that you can have jobs. All those jobs are gone. I mean, even old GR is noisier than Transformative Industrial Layout. The place is so quiet. Because the jobs have disappeared.
There are no
industries
industries
shut down. There are no industries. So how, if someone who wants to lead the rest, they shouldn't be coming to tell me all these things about singing and dancing and everything. Let's do away with that. You should be telling me, how would you bring back those places that are vacant? How can we bring back companies that will come in there so that they can create jobs for young people to work?
As a young man growing up in Port Harcourt, I remember that anytime we go toward that industrial area, around 4 or 5, you see hundreds of people trooping out of
people, so many people.
I'll ask my parents, what's going on inside? They just closed from work. What's going? They have biscuits factory. You have rubber factory.
Michelin was there.
You had everything.
Tire factory, everything. Now we buy all these things at exorbitant amounts because we are not even producing.
And so,
so you can see how Hydra-headed the situation is. There are multiple layers to it, and I think everything comes down to just saying, what is the vision? And I like that you raised the issue of the ring road, because the ring road is important, but is it important now or in 5 years' time? Or in 2 years' time? Do you understand? So I feel we also have an issue with sequencing development. The way we do what should come first, what should come next,
in terms of priorities,
prioritization. And if you don't have the right priorities, you spend what you should be spending on this, what you should be doing in 10 years' time, you spend on it now. And then you begin to struggle, because then the people that you should have taken care of now destroy the thing that you should have done.
Yes. And someone brought up what Dangote did. Permit me to bring him into this conversation. That before he built the refinery, he founded a construction company.
Yes, he did.
And then trained engineers.
That would help.
That would build the refinery.
That's it.
But you see the wisdom. He had to train human beings first.
Yes.
So if we want to build a flyover or a ring road, we need to train people.
The people that
will not steal the lights, that won't steal the manholes, that will rather even protect it, and then ensure that it is something. Man, anyway, let me go to WhatsApp. Some messages just came on WhatsApp, and we're going to try our best to read them. And this is for Ebenezar. The first one says, Rivers at 59, yet we have nothing to brag about. It's a shame for such an oil-rich state. Very, very sad. This is from Tammy from Port Harcourt. This one says, good morning, Zubi. I greet your brother in the studio. I greet my brother in the studio. I completely agree with his thoughts. But as an Ogoni son, how has he used his experience in the development of Ogoni communities? Charity begins at home. I'm a traditional ruler. I will be happier if Mr. Ebenezar can tell how I can maximize opportunities available in my community to build a better river state. It's from Royal Chief Ambassador Magnus Edo, paramount ruler of ancient Dewa village. I want you to respond to that.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that's an amazing point. First of all, I feel, I mean, not to brag, I've invested quite a bit of my time and my career actually into supporting and moving the Ogoni movement in so many ways. I think a couple of them, which are quite visible for people to see, and people might not know this. So Ken Sarawiwa's old office on Abbey Road. I was friends with Ken's son before he passed. And for a very long time, we thought about what are the ways we can invest in that, using that structure, so that it becomes a space where people can come, innovation can come out, we can invest again in Ogoni youth. What are some of the challenges that they had around internet and power and stuff like that. And I mean, when he eventually passed, SDN took over the place. magnanimously and have invested so much time and energy in that, and I worked with SDN to be able to carry out the base research across that led to the founding of the Kent Sawiwa Innovation Hub, which, by the way, has now supported tens and tens of businesses, small businesses from Port Harcourt, particularly even Ogoni-led businesses and innovations led by Ogoni young people. So that's just one of them. I mean, the Ogoni Youth Association will talk about the things I've done with them as well. Some of the local government people. I advised the Kana State's the Kana local government chair for quite a while as well. So I have been doing things. I'm doing as much as I can do, because also there's also work and everything that that definitely comes in. But as much as I can do, I have been doing. But I also want us to move away from again, this project also tries to push us to move away from a savior complex. Where I don't think I'm a savior of Bolivia. This is just me. I'm 33 years old. What am I trying to say? Who do I want to? I've never been saving myself. I have a son already now, right? I want us to move away from a savior complex to the point where we actually begin to think of what are and that's why I like his question. What are the things that we can do with what we have already? From where you are, what are the things that we can do to actually build that? And I would really like to be in touch with you, sir. I don't know if you can share your contact. Perhaps I'll get his contact.
We'll get it from our platform.
Okay, cool. So that we can actually begin to discuss the actual solutions we can solve for ourselves together, not for someone coming to save us. I think that's still quite a colonial mindset where we feel like someone needs to come and then do something to save.
Oh yes, God, come and save us.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This one from Certified Cortex. I think it's Chetan Wala. Yeah. He says, good morning, Zubi. When you look at the ideas of my brother Ebenezar Wikina and his team, the ones they are projecting, you will agree with me that they are amazing. But unfortunately, the political actors in Rivers State do not care about those things. The political actors are more interested in jamboree than planned leadership. We have serious leadership failures in this state, and people like Wikina will never be given the opportunity to lead. The people are co-authors of what is happening in Rivers State because they keep emboldening and supporting this political madness. This is from yes, other messages came. This is from Chile Edwin. It says, it is indeed quite unfortunate that the people's voices are not counted or changed or can change anything either in the past or is expected to do so at present. Though the people have always been speaking, but the kind of leaders at the helm of affairs have always frustrated the efforts made to have some of these changes. So because of time, we need to round off. But let me ask you this now. If there's, hopefully there isn't, but if there is a pushback from the status quo, how do you expect to entrench this going forward, so that it must see the light of day? Rivers State comes first.
Yes. I mean, we have ensured a couple of ways. One of them is that we've actually written to the House of Assembly and they acknowledged that letter. Speaking to the House of Assembly to see what are the ways where, because we've seen countries like even Wales and the UK as well, enshrine it's called the Generations Act, where the vision for the long-term vision becomes law, such that you can take a governor to court if he deviates out of that law. We feel that would be a way to take that's going to be the pinnacle, right, for us to say, how do we from the launch of the vision post the elections next year, when we get the House of Assembly, how do we push this through a bill that becomes law? That for us, I feel that would be one of the ways to ensure it. But I think the biggest way to ensure it would be in the hearts of Rivers people. Rivers people need to, I mean, through this project, we're forcing ourselves to begin to dream beyond where we are currently. How can we challenge the system and challenge the status quo? That's what this is all about, and we've been investing so much time and energy into it. And I hope that you can join us. Like I said earlier, rivers2050.org. We have sessions almost every Saturday. Like I said, today we're speaking to the founding head of Singapore's Futures Center, just to speak about how they've been able to innovate themselves as well. Please join us. We're on social media as well at Rivers2050 across all platforms. Please join us. We can't do it alone. We're a bunch of young people who are just struggling to basically, make things.
What's your number now in terms of membership?
Okay, so we put it together. I think I started with 80, now we're 150.
Okay, number 150.
Yes,
okay, that's good. Yes. Are you particularly concerned about the political situation in Rivers State?
I am. I mean, anyone that's not concerned doesn't really care about.
Is your concern good or bad?
My concern is worrying because I think, and just as you're wrapping up, I think that Rivers State is a multi-ethnic diverse state, right?
Okay.
And I think in many ways our leadership should reflect the diversity of what the state is.
Okay.
I think the paramount conversation now is about the fact that we've had leaders from a certain extraction for a long time, and now there's a need for leadership to be more open so that everybody else feels part of this particular state, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's that. I feel there's huge merit in that argument. And I feel that's an argument that the political parties and the state leaders should have in mind as well. Because if we complain about insubordination and people are pressing us from the north and we're like, oh, the north always wants to be president, what are we doing in our own states? And it's almost like we're basically hypocrites by repeating the same trend that we see happening nationally. So I think that it's a worrying trend for me. And I actually do hope that that's something that we can resolve soon. And I hope, the Rivers people are the final arbiter. I hope we get away from this feeling where we are all defeated and we feel like there's nothing that can happen. We can't do anything about it. We can do something about, like I said,
So
9 million people. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Like, why are 9 million people scared of a few people? Why? So
how can we take it back from the few people who, from the look of things, this support comes from Aso Rock, from the smell of things?
We need to organize. We need to organize better around the elections. Select the candidates that we think speak to the kind of needs that we have as a state. And when we go out to vote, stand and defend our vote. I think that this coming election will be an election where you see citizens actually getting involved up until the counting all the way down to the end, right? Ensuring that we're there to protect our votes, we're there to fight for our votes, ensure that no matter what happens, what the people actually say at the ballot actually is what gets transmitted. It's in our hands, to be honest. I think that we can talk about the politics and everything that goes around, but in the end, 9 million people is a lot of people. And I think we have the power to change.
Okay, so finally, your message for Rivers State.
Yeah, my message for the state is that 59 is a cause for us to pause, much more than Jamboree, as Barrister Wala said. We could have done a big event and come together and eat rice and everything, but I think it's a time for us to pause and think.
Rice.
There's so much.
You mentioned rice.
Rice, which is a common thing that's shared.
Wow.
It's a time for us to pause and think about the future. What do we really want for our states? What kind of future do we want for our children? And what role do we have to play as citizens, as state leaders, as private sector, as civil society? How can we all come together to the table and design this vision? And that's what we've started as young people. We hope you can join us. Let us fight for our state. Let's fight for the future. And let's ensure that we can have a state that in the next 10, 15 years we can be proud of, and we can be proud to live for our kids as well.
I concur. Thank you very much, Ebenezar Wikina. Thank you very much for your time. You're still a member of SPC. I am.
No, SPC is for life.
SPC for life. Thank you very much. And he's the founder of the Policy Shapers, and is currently leading the Rivers 2050 vision, the first citizen-led development vision in Nigeria's history. I would like to be part of this particular movement. I'll check your website out, and of course, because I have a lot to pour in and a lot to receive you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
So that's pretty much it on this particular first segment of Viewpoint. The next segment will be coming up next. And my guest, hopefully, is around, Chief Gani Toba. And the conversation is on governance, basically politics, because the governor basically broke a lot of hearts. On Wednesday, he broke lots of hearts in Rivers State. Market women were crying. The people said, he did the right things. And people said, no, shouldn't have. But anyway, Chief Gani Toba is here to talk about it. We'll be right back in a bit. Stay tuned.